It was an ordinary day when my life changed forever. The endless bustle of New York accompanied me as I drove home after another exhausting week as a stylist. The city lights sparkled around me, reminding me of all the successes I had achieved in my career. At that moment, I couldn't imagine I was about to embark on the most extraordinary journey of my existence. The constant roar of the city, the endless demands of my clients, the dazzling runways. Everything seemed to revolve around an insatiable quest for approval and success. My name echoed through the halls of the most prestigious fashion houses, and my designs graced the pages of the most exclusive magazines. I had built an empire based on aesthetic perfection, but at the cost of something far more valuable that I would only begin to understand later. I vividly remember how fate chose that precise moment to intervene. In the middle of a sharp turn, a blinding flash flooded my field of vision. Everything happened in slow motion. The lights of the out-of-control truck, the deafening screech of brakes, the inevitable impact. The roar of twisting metal and shattering glass merged into a chaotic crescendo before plunging into absolute, bewildering silence. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in a place that defied all earthly logic. The light that permeated everything seemed to have no defined source. It simply existed, enveloping every particle of space with indescribable warmth. I felt no physical pain, but an inexplicable heaviness weighed on my heart, as if all the decisions of my life converged at that precise moment to show me a truth I had been deliberately ignoring. That's when I saw him. A radiant figure approached with a grace that transcended any human movement. His eyes, deeper blue than the ocean itself, overflowed with love and compassion that left me breathless. Before I could utter a word, his voice, soft yet unmistakably powerful, resonated within my being. "I am Jesus. Come with me. There is much you need to see." The space around us began to transform into a vast field of memories, like a living gallery of my own existence. I witnessed moments of my life projected as if they were high-definition movies. My triumphs on the most prestigious runways, every award received, every standing ovation. But interwoven with these images of apparent success emerged scenes that caused me deep discomfort. Moments of excessive pride, instances where I had belittled those who didn't meet my strict standards of perfection. One scene, in particular, pierced my soul like an icy dagger. The time I publicly humiliated a young designer for what I considered a minor imperfection in his work. At that moment, I could see the pain reflected in his eyes with devastating clarity, and I understood the true extent of my arrogance. The weight of that realization hit me with overwhelming force. Jesus' gaze, though understanding, conveyed a seriousness that made me shudder. His words, spoken with a perfect blend of sweetness and firmness, resonated deep within my being. "You have built your life around a distorted reflection of true value." We moved to a hall of mirrors, but these didn't reflect my physical appearance. They showed something much deeper and more revealing. My soul laid bare before the truth. In one of the mirrors, I saw how vanity took the form of golden chains that imprisoned me. Though bright and seemingly precious, their weight was unbearable. I understood that each time I sought admiration and applause, these chains tightened more around me. Vanity is a vice that distorts truth. Jesus explained while pointing to a reflection where my image decomposed into fragments of light. Then, with infinite patience, he showed me moments in my life when I had helped others without expecting anything in return. In each of these scenes, the light surrounding me grew naturally and beautifully. "This is your true essence," he affirmed with a smile that filled me with hope. I then remembered an old passion I had buried under layers of ambition. The afternoons I spent sewing clothes to donate to city shelters. These were moments when I felt truly alive and fulfilled, but I had abandoned them in pursuit of ephemeral glory that now seemed empty and meaningless. The lesson was crystal clear. Jesus wasn't there to judge me, but to help me see how vanity had driven me away from my true purpose. A new reflection appeared before me. I saw myself smiling while helping a girl choose a dress for a school interview. At that moment, I understood the true meaning of serving with love. Our next stop was a vision of immemorial times. Before my eyes materialized a figure of indescribable beauty, surrounded by its own light that eclipsed everything I had seen until then. "This is Lucifer," Jesus explained, "created perfect, but not immune to the danger of pride." I watched in horror as that radiant figure transformed, its light becoming increasingly dense shadows. Lucifer's transformation was marked by a single thought: the vanity of believing himself superior. At that moment, I understood that pride is like a flame that silently consumes, destroying all good in its path. Pride leads to the fall, but love is the bridge for return, Jesus said, as we returned to the field of memories. The visions deeply impacted me. Each scene of pride in my life reflected the same dangerous path I had been following without realizing it. With a trembling voice, I asked Jesus, "Is there any way to return when we've lost ourselves in the darkness of ego?" His smile, full of tenderness, comforted me. There is always a way back. It lies in recognizing, accepting, and changing. As these words penetrated my heart, I felt how an indescribable peace began to fill my being. It was as if the golden chains of vanity finally broke, leaving me free for the first time in many years. The visions continued, showing me how small daily decisions shape our destiny. I saw crucial moments in my life, each a fork in the road I had chosen. I painfully remembered when I abandoned a close friend for a job opportunity that promised fame and recognition. The disappointment on his face, which I ignored at the time, now caused me deep remorse. Pride can be subtle, a seed that grows silently until its roots are too deep. Jesus explained while memories intertwined in a cascade of colors and emotions. He showed me a lavish party where I was the center of attention, surrounded by people who adulated me. Now I could clearly see that such admiration was as ephemeral as the smoke of a freshly extinguished candle. True greatness lies in serving, not in being served, Jesus reminded me, and the party scene faded, leaving me in an empty hall that resonated with the truth of his words. A comforting warmth enveloped me as I understood the fundamental difference between living for oneself and living for something greater than ego. When Jesus extended his hand saying, "Let's go back, but this time with a renewed purpose," I knew my life would never be the same. Waking up in a hospital was like being born again. The monotonous sound of monitors and concerned voices of medical staff reminded me that I had returned to the material world, but I was no longer the same person who had left. My family held my hand with tears in their eyes, unaware that I had just experienced a transformation that transcended the physical. The experience seemed like a dream, but every detail was etched in my mind with crystal clarity. It was more real than any fashion show or award ceremony I had attended. The first glimpse in the hospital mirror was revealing. I no longer sought to admire my appearance, but to see beyond it. I saw a woman ready to rediscover herself, to find her true purpose in life. The first step was to contact those I had hurt with my arrogance. The call to the young designer I had humiliated was especially difficult, but his response of surprise and gratitude confirmed I was on the right path. I returned to my roots, going back to sewing for shelters and volunteering to teach young aspirants in needy communities. The impact of my transformation didn't go unnoticed. Friends and colleagues began to notice the change in my attitude, and some even joined my new mission. The void that vanity had left in my life was gradually replaced by authentic satisfaction, born from seeing genuine smiles and sharing true moments of joy. Over time, those seeking help found in me not a relentless critic, but a sympathetic ally. We formed a group dedicated to creating sustainable and accessible fashion, where each garment told a story of overcoming and humility. Recognition came again, but this time not in the form of empty applause, but silent gratitude and sincere hugs. I began giving talks, sharing my experience and lessons learned about the danger of pride and the beauty of simplicity. Although Jesus didn't physically appear again, I felt his presence in every act of kindness, in every smile, and in every humble decision I made. The new routine brought me a deeper realization than any previous success, and challenges became opportunities to grow and learn. His words, "There is always a way back," became my personal mantra, a constant reminder that the return to what is pure and true is always within our reach. Years later, I decided to write a book about my experience, sharing the wisdom gained on that heavenly journey. Letters began to arrive. People from around the world wrote to tell me how my story had helped them rethink their own lives and priorities. One young person particularly moved me by sharing how, inspired by my testimony, they had managed to overcome their addiction to social media recognition. I organized annual gatherings where we talked about humility, gratitude, and how love for others is the greatest achievement we can attain. I saw the beauty of change manifest not only in myself, but also in those around me, and understood that every choice can be a seed of hope for others. I returned to the hospital where I had awakened, this time not as a patient, but as a volunteer, offering comfort to those going through their own crises and transformations. Each story I heard, each life I touched, reminded me of the greater purpose for which I had been saved. One special afternoon, while contemplating the sunset from my studio window, I felt again that luminous presence that had changed my life. I smiled, knowing that my path now reflected the light that had always been there, patiently waiting to be discovered. My story isn't just a testimony of personal transformation. It's a reminder that true success isn't measured in applause or recognition, but in the ability to touch and improve the lives of others. The accident that seemed like the end of my path turned out to be just the beginning of a more meaningful and profound journey. Each day is a new opportunity to live with purpose and humility, to create beauty that transcends the superficial and reaches the hearts of those around us. My experience taught me that true light doesn't come from runway spotlights, but from the inner glow that is cultivated through love and service to others. Today, while I continue my work in the fashion industry, I do it with a completely different perspective. Each design, each collection, each project is imbued with a higher purpose: to elevate and empower others, create spaces of inclusion and love, and remember that true beauty resides in the heart. My encounter with Jesus wasn't the end of a story, but the beginning of a new chapter that continues to be written each day. Through each person I help, each life I touch, each moment of humility and service, I feel that I am honoring that transformative experience that showed me the true meaning of life. And so, as the sun sets on another day of this new life, I am grateful for the second chance I was given, because I learned that no matter how far we have strayed from the path, there is always the possibility of returning to the light, of rediscovering our true essence, and of living a life that truly matters. And as I reflect on everything I've experienced, I feel that every step of this path has had a divine purpose. Sunsets now have a deeper meaning. They are daily reminders that true beauty doesn't need to proclaim itself. Like the sun that silently sets each day, painting the sky with indescribable colors, I have learned that the most meaningful actions are often the quietest. My workshop, once a temple of vanity and obsessive perfectionism, has become a sanctuary of healing and hope. The walls that were once covered with accolades and celebrity photographs now show the smiling faces of those whose lives we have touched. Each garment we create tells a story of redemption. Each stitch is infused with purpose. I have begun documenting the transformation stories that occur in our space. A single mother who learned to sew and now supports her children with dignity. A teenager who found their vocation in design after years of struggling with depression. An elderly man who rediscovered his passion for tailoring and now teaches others. These stories are my true legacy, far more valuable than any award or recognition I received before. The weekly meetings we organize have become more than just sewing classes. They are spaces of healing where people share their struggles and victories, where tears of pain transform into smiles of hope. I've seen how the simple act of creating something with one's own hands can be deeply therapeutic, how the process of shaping fabric can help rebuild broken lives. Sunday afternoons, when the sun begins its descent, we gather in a circle to share tea and stories. It's in these moments when I most feel Jesus' presence, in a sincere communion between souls seeking something deeper than material success. The genuine laughter, spontaneous hugs, words of encouragement, all of this has a value that no runway could match. I've learned to see beauty in imperfections, in the not-so-straight seams of a beginner, in designs that don't follow fashion trends but are born from the heart. Each person who crosses our door brings with them a unique story, a potential waiting to be discovered. My role is no longer to judge or criticize, but to nurture and guide. The collections we now create are collaborative, born from the collective wisdom of our community. We incorporate traditional techniques from different cultures, honoring the diversity and richness of our roots. Each garment has a purpose beyond aesthetics. Some are designed for nursing mothers, others for people with disabilities, all thought out to make life more dignified and beautiful. The fashion shows we organize are different from anything I had done in my previous life. There's no exclusivity or elitism. Our models are real people of all ages, sizes, and backgrounds. The runway becomes a space for celebrating authenticity, where each person shines with their unique light. Sometimes, on quiet nights when everyone is gone, I sit at my old workbench and remember that crucial moment on the road's curve. The accident that seemed like a tragedy was actually a divine gift, an intervention that saved me from a life of emptiness disguised as success. The lessons continue arriving each day. I learn from every person who walks through our door, from every shared story, from every tear shed, and every smile gained. Humility isn't a destination to reach, but a path to walk day by day. Each morning brings new opportunities to choose love over ego, service over recognition. We have begun to expand our reach beyond the city's borders. Through online programs, we share our knowledge with remote communities. Seeing how our teachings multiply, how each person we help becomes a helper to others, reminds me of Jesus' words about seeds falling on good soil. Recognition has come in unexpected ways. They're not trophies or applause, but sync, air letters, spontaneous hugs, tears of gratitude. Every time someone shares how their life has changed thanks to our work, I feel a joy that no industry award could match. Sleepless nights are no longer spent worrying about next season's trends or critics' comments. Now they are moments of reflection and gratitude, of planning new ways to serve, of dreaming up ways to reach more people in need. The silence of night has become my ally, a sacred space to connect with that higher purpose that was revealed to me. I have begun writing a new book, not about fashion or design, but about the soul's journey toward authenticity. Each chapter is a testimony of transformation, not just mine, but of all the extraordinary people I've met on this path. Their stories interweave with mine, forming a tapestry of hope and redemption. The fashion industry, which was once my everything, is now simply a vehicle for something greater. We have created a network of designers and artisans committed to ethical and sustainable fashion. People who understand that each garment can be a statement of love toward humanity and the planet. The most precious moments are those when I see someone discover their own worth beyond appearances and social standards. When a person looks in the mirror and for the first time sees themselves through eyes of love, I know I'm witnessing a miracle as profound as the one I experience myself. Each morning, before opening the doors of our workshop, I pause for a moment to give thanks. I'm grateful for the second chance, for every person who crosses our threshold, for every story entrusted to us. I'm grateful even for the challenges and difficulties, because I know they are opportunities to grow in love and wisdom. The future unfolds before me like a blank fabric, ready to be worked with purpose and love. I don't know exactly what form it will take, but I trust that as long as I keep my heart open and my hands willing to serve, each stitch will be part of a larger and more beautiful design than I could have imagined. Jesus' words now resonate with renewed clarity. There is always a way back. This path of return isn't a final destination, but a continuous journey of discovery and service. Each day brings new opportunities to choose light over darkness, love over fear, humility over pride. And so, as the sun sets on another day of this renewed life, my heart overflows with gratitude and hope. I know this is just the beginning of an even more beautiful chapter in this story of redemption and love that continues to unfold day after day, moment by moment, in the great